you talk to the youth to hear their voices.
Yeah.
And I think the voice of the youth has not been there.
Yes.
There were people talking for them, not them talking about themselves.
And there's something, Doctor, first generation trauma. That's what I have termed it.
Yeah.
When you're the first to do something, there are challenges that you come across. So we're always missing the mark. And also, we live in relationship with the women that we have. Now, if our women do not know what exactly they are praising in us, will they ever praise us?
Welcome back to A Chat with Dr. Joe. It seems this year we are doing very well. We've started the year very well. And we are doing our best. As I said in the other episode, that we are going to be having our 10th anniversary this year. So it has been a fairly interesting decade. A fairly interesting decade, guys. When it all started, some people were asking me from the last episode that why is our theme called It's Possible? When it all started, no one believed that as a social worker, I can have a company, I can monetize social work. And everybody was like, nah, dude, why we are talking about people's problems here. So, and here we are 10 years later, we are still here and we are saying we are here for you. We want to help you become better versions of yourselves. So we will be having our 10th anniversary this year, and the whole theme is It's Possible. So we believe that it's possible. We offer different services. We offer counseling to individuals, families and groups, corporates. We also do life coaching, especially to younger people. And we've seen older people who are saying, dude, I'm turning 50 and I really don't know where I'm going. So can you help me find the path? So we've been doing that. We also do motivation. We also do skills training. So these are some of the things that the company has been doing in the next 10 years. And as I said in the last podcast, we are going to have the mother and daughter coming up, I think, in a week or two. So it's on the 8th of March. So please, just look at the numbers on your screen and then call the office, book your ticket. It's only 650. How Tali, your daughter. If you have two daughters, it's 850. And then if there are more, please call us. We will negotiate. And still in the spirit of love and talking about violence and love, we want to understand the genetics of violence. Or is it hereditary? Is it in our DNA? Or have we learned it? Is it nature or nurture? So today we are going to be looking at that. And we have a guest. I think this is the second time we have a male guest. So usually, because it's a social podcast, so usually we are getting females. It's a pleasure to have a male who is in the helping profession, helping industry. So, dude, where have you been? I think I saw you the last time when you were finishing your degree.
Yes, I think last time we met, I had just finished at UB. You were holding the conference at Ave Maria. So I've been trying to build myself, expand my career, trying to figure out where exactly I can serve best in community, and also trying to see how best to use my career. So I've been in business, and the first 2 years of business are very hectic and
very tricky.
So they take a lot from you in terms of being visible in society and engaging with people. So once you've hit level ground, you start to then see what other people are doing. But I've just been locked in working.
So and who are you?
So I'm Lefika. I term myself a lover of people, and because I love people so much, I decided to pursue a bachelor in psychology. My belief was that I would be better able to serve people when I understand exactly how the human mind works and what exactly goes on for us to behave the way that we behave. And it was quite a rewarding path for me to choose because I've come to love the helping industry. So just after school, I started LifePsych. It's a mental health services company. So I've done almost everything that I can do in LifePsych. I've done counseling, I've done psychological assessments, talks, corporate and family conflict resolutions, just to try to find exactly where my talents lie. But just beginning this year, I've realized I work well with families. So I've focused more into family therapy, your conflict resolution. But that's why I've gotten in, because a lot of the times, at least with the people that I've met, there isn't a voice that explains how the young mind is thinking. When bana ba bua le batsadi ba feel gore ga ba tlhaloganye. And usually why I come in is to try to explain that as much as you may not understand what I'm trying to communicate as a parent, it feels real to me. This is where I am. So that is the work that I've really been doing with LifePsych, trying to bring families together. And amazingly, I thought because I'm young, I will have a lot of younger clients.
Yeah.
But over time, I've found that I work well with older people. I mean, right now, my clientele, everybody's over 45.
And interestingly,
Yeah.
I'm the opposite of that.
Exactly.
I work more with young people than older people.
Yeah, so...
And that is life.
It's life, between the parent and the mother and the daughter. I relate more to the mother because they get to hear a filtered version of what's going on in the daughter's mind. But with the daughter, I don't relate so well because they think I'm where they are. So it's quite an interesting phenomena that the younger counselors can speak to the older people and
and you said something, and this morning I was reading a paper by Sechele, 2015, and he was talking about the voice of the youth in research. And he said something very profound, that the positivist approach was that you go and interview the teachers and the parents to talk about the youth. So the life, there's a theory, I think he said the life something theory, is the one that says you talk to the youth to hear their voices. And I think the voice of the youth has not been there. There were people talking for them, not them talking about themselves.
And that I discovered that immediately after university, because you step out of, for 4 years you're protected by the institution. Internet is free, the library is free, you have access to everything that you could possibly imagine. And immediately after July, everything is cut off. Now you get to face reality. And there isn't a clear path of where you go. So a lot of us then choose to run to already established things to try to find refuge, become interns, try to shadow people. However, what I then went through is that the world that I'm living in, I cannot afford, or it's hard for me to serve it the way people that came before me served it. The way I went to older psychologists, older counselors, and tried to ask them, what did you do between 25 and 30? And what they did, frankly, cannot work for me now. And because that was happening, I realized it is not just the me problem. It is what we are facing as the youth, because nobody has lived in this time before. And because nobody has lived in this time before, we are asking older people, and unfortunately their voices, as genuine as my parents' advice is, sometimes it does not work where I am.
You know what? The beauty about interviewing young people is they always take you back to your younger version. So we were indoctrinated to think that the only work that you can get is government.
Exactly.
So when I finished my degree, I went to work for government.
Yes, sir.
And I realized that I'm not supposed to be here.
You're not supposed to be
I
there.
forced reforms into those people. I came up with initiatives, intervention models, all these things.
Yeah.
And the moment I said, no, I'm not supposed to be here.
Yes.
And I stepped out.
Yeah.
Everything that I talked about, they got rid of it.
Yes.
So this is why now when I'm teaching, I'm saying, I want to take out the mentality that I'm supposed to be employed.
Yes.
To say there are other options.
Exactly.
You see, when government says youth should go into entrepreneurship, they are also limiting them.
Yes.
You need to create an environment where there's a bouquet. It's a bouquet or buffet?
A buffet.
Yes, where you choose.
Yeah.
If you want to go work, go work.
Go work.
If you want to start entrepreneurship, go do it.
Yeah.
If you want an NGO, go do it.
Yes.
If you want corporate, go for it.
Yes.
But we were tailor-made for employment. And after that, we were told, no, there's no employment. Go start business.
Go start business.
Where do you start?
It's because we have people who are wrongly placed. You have people like myself doing jobs, and they're fighting with managers because they're not supposed to be there. And there's something, Doctor, first generation trauma. That's what I have termed it.
Yeah.
When you're the first to do something, there are challenges that you come across that other people have not gone through. And I have followed a lot of your work, and it has really helped me in the hardest of times, especially your talks on perseverance, because you started something that other people have not done in your field. Now I'm coming in with a psychology degree, and I'm doing something that in my degree other people have not done. And there are challenges that I face, which listening to you, I could hear that this man has also faced something similar to this. I draw a principle from that. The methodology is not the same, but I am drawing principles, which is where the disconnect is. Instead of feeding young people principles, we're giving them methodology. We want to tell them, I did 1, 2, 3, but it does not work now. What I need is the principle. What did Dr. Joe mean? What principle did he apply? That is why when you're talking about perseverance, I think it's 2 years ago when a lot of your talks were about perseverance. That is the principle that I drew. But I did not apply it exactly the way you did. I contextualized it for this year. So what we are lacking is, first generation employed people, first generation graduates in our families. You find that you are the first one to graduate in your family. You don't know, what do I do with my first paycheck? What do I do with my first loan? Those are first generation.
Do I even need a loan?
Do I even need a loan? So those are first generation questions that young people are going through, and they need principle. They don't need you to tell them exactly what to do, but what principle do I apply here?
And one of your former classmates, Tsepo Mafujani, yesterday she was saying to me, I think the writing is on the wall. I'm cut for business. I tried it, it was doing well, and then I ran for employment. Now the employment has just vanished. So now the universe is telling me that, dude, you were called for this. Just go for it. And sometimes we bury our ability because of the first time trauma. That trauma makes us, your mother was the first person to work, and they tell you, no, it's working. But you look at them and you're like, if this thing was working, we should be somewhere. This thing is not working.
We should be somewhere.
So, but I want us to, because all this work, no work, what has made our country to be termed as the most unhappy. And currently we are amongst the most violent. So why are we violent?
We are frustrated.
What frustrates us?
We are frustrated because, firstly, there are questions which nobody is answering. I will spend, for today's conversation, I'll speak as a young man a lot because, when you look at the numbers, a huge number of the perpetrators, are men. And sometimes, because I have interacted with, in social instances, you go to prisons, you have conversations with guys that have, been violent. You try to ask them what happened. And so somebody will tell you that I don't understand. I don't understand what was happening to me. That was a reaction. And they don't have the vocabulary for it. So when I say that we are frustrated, there are a lot of unanswered questions because, one, there are uncommunicated expectations. And two, when those expectations are uncommunicated, we have a limited vocabulary to express ourselves. So you look at situations and relationships. Right now, as young men, we don't have a clear definition of what does a successful Motswana man look like. When we say Monna Motswana, what is the template? We don't have a hero. We don't know when we say that Motswana family is working. What is the template? What does it look like? You know, when you look at the Americans, you know, at the senators, for example, they will tell you that you have 2 kids, you have the picket fence, you have the American dream. It's a template. You know that you're working towards the SUV and the car for the husband. He has a small portrait of the family by his desk. That is the American dream. It is imprinted in them, you know, as they are growing up. You know what you're working towards. What is a Motswana man working towards? A lot of people, older people will tell you foot and mouth is killed the cattle. So there isn't much pride coming from agriculture. There isn't much pride coming from the corporate world because unemployment is at play. So when a young man is 21, when he is 18, between 18 and 21, what exactly is he aiming at? And because there's nothing a young man is aiming at in Botswana, he is frustrated because life is asking him, where are you going? He does not have an answer.
And actually, Lefika, before that, at 16, he's supposed to be projecting to 21.
Exactly.
What exactly is a Motswana young man seeing?
And what are the categories of Botswana young men are we producing? Frustration banna or young men in Botswana is that there isn't an answer to what we are aiming towards. And because you have nothing that you are aiming towards, you are always missing. And you become a victim of hearing different voices telling you what you are supposed to be, and the target is never clear. We become victims of seeing young guys who are doing forex, driving all manner of cars that our fathers are dreaming of. Is that what we are supposed to be aiming towards? We're seeing artists, you know, having fame but not making enough money. Is that what we're aiming towards? So we're always missing the mark. And also, we live in relationship with the women that we have. Now, if our women do not know what exactly they are praising in us, will they ever praise us? Is there anything that I'm confident that I'm proud of you? So frustration, there are no answers to such questions. And we also have to realize that we are living in a developing society. One thing that, you know, Botswana in general do not have a great relationship talking about issue ya di class. Or what class do we exist? Classism. What class do we exist in? And it is very prevalent in our society. And because it is prevalent in the helping industry, we don't have the proper vocabulary for it. You know, if I'm in private practice, I charge people for my time. How many people can afford my time? How many people can afford session time? The people by Longoro we have put free counseling for, these, you know, centers for free counseling, the kind of life that they are living doesn't allow them to have time to go there before let's like a half four. So we have a huge problem in the class, and we are bringing blanket approaches to all of the classes. But the problems, the violence that you experience, you know, at the lowest of classes is not the same violence that you're experiencing in the middle class. Because even the methodology that somebody will use to perform violence in CBD is not what you will find in the village. You know, you get to the village, you find that somebody has killed 4 people and he's out in bail. And these are not issues that we are talking about. Mogaborone, we are scared of trending. When you tell somebody in the village that you're going to trend, they don't understand.
They don't even care.
They don't even care what you mean. So somebody who is scared of trending, somebody who is scared of you ruining their career, they can listen to cancel culture. Somebody who doesn't even care when they don't care what you take away from them. So this violence exists in Botswana. Rare violence, but it is very different.
Yeah.
It is very different, and what exists there needs a different solution to what exists in Gaborone.
Oh man, you know, I think I've talked about Botswana being violent, intimate partner violence, domestic violence, murder, and all those.
Yeah.
And I've never looked at them from your perspective that they are not homogeneous.
No, not at all.
And we cannot have a homogeneous approach towards it.
Even the victims, they are not the same, Dr. John.
The victims are not the same.
So the empowerment that you give Magaboron is not the empowerment that you give in the village. Because in the village, maybe they may need financial empowerment, or they are depending on that man to provide. So you give them financial empowerment, they will be able to run away and have a better life. In Gaborone, somebody earning more than the man will still be a victim.
Yeah.
So it's not an issue of finance. It is an issue of psychology.
Yeah.
So even the victims are not the same. So the first barrier that we have in Botswana, Dr. German, is that we are calling things the wrong names. Or we are giving blanket names to things. And because there are blanket names, the victims' voices are not heard. The perpetrators' voices are not heard. Because somebody will tell you, and I don't know what I did.
Yeah.
So if I call them for a seminar, somebody who's heavily under marijuana, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So that solution needs me to help them get clean and help them get a job. Somebody in Gaborone who is riddled with lifestyle diseases, that are concerned about how they're going to pay rent in these beautiful estates, their car installment, they have 4 girlfriends, and maybe sexually they're not doing so well. That man needs me to sit down with them and tell them to take it slow.
Yeah.
So that man is dealing with a lifestyle disease. It will affect their sexual performance. That man is going to be angry. And when I'm speaking to a group of such men, I'll ask them to take care of their health. Yeah. But somebody who's working in a warehouse, Dr. German, does not have sexual problems. They're healthy. Yeah. So it's not a sexual thing. It is an issue that they are angry at the system, angry that life is not working for them, angry that they are surviving on 50 pula a day.
You see, last year we had the Gen Z Men's Conference.
Yeah.
One of the things that I picked is what you are saying, because it was the transition from the old government to the new government. Exactly. And the ministries were reshuffled.
Yeah,
and these guys were like, how do I perform at home without knowing whether tomorrow I'm going to work?
Exactly.
Where am I going to work? Am I going to be taken to the next ministry? Yeah. It was that challenge. And I went to a church where men were there. The common denominator was church.
Yeah.
But the lives
were very different.
Very different.